On this episode of the Odd Man Out podcast, we talk about finding your niche. Yo, what is up, everybody? Episode 8 in the house. Sabin, why did it take us so long, dude?
We've been grinding. We've been making a lot of content. We've been
Oh,
coming up with a lot of different ideas. It's been content grind season recently.
hell yeah, hell yeah. We've been cooking. Everybody, what is up? In case you forgot who we are the Odd Man Out podcast. I'm your host, Danny, joined today by just Sabin. Sabin, I'm glad that we finally made episode 8 happen. What are we going to be talking about today, Sabe?
We're gonna be talking about to start off a few things that we found out recently, but then after that we're gonna go into finding your niche and how we've kind of found ours and how you might be able to find yours.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. All right, folks. Before we get into the podcast, this is the spot where we'd normally put a sponsor. We don't have a sponsor, so we're sponsoring ourselves. Gang, go check out our YouTube. We actually just hit over 100 subscribers. We're youtube.com/at oddmanoutstudio. That's youtube.com/at oddmanoutstudio. We're at like 120 something subs now, guys. You want to
Yeah,
definitely be one of the first 1,000 before we pop off and get too famous to ever have to do this again. That's
just like
the
Bitcoin, man.
just like Bitcoin, right? Don't if you were late to Bitcoin, this is your next thing you can be early for. So yeah,
Early
so
odd
let's
man
get
out investor.
exactly. Ooh, investor. We're taking investors now, Sam?
Yeah,
All right, cool, dude.
maybe.
Maybe. Who knows? We're gonna go knock on some doors. So yeah, let's get to it. We wanted to talk about some things that were going on. And Sabin, did you know that OBS has a new plugin? I know.
No,
I know. Don't
tell me a
For the
lot more
audio
about it.
listeners, his jaw just hit the floor. Don't look at it to confirm. But yeah, so this week, it was actually last week, but today is February 6th at the time of recording. And a couple days ago, a company called Atrium came out with a vertical plugin for OBS. So if you download this plugin, run the executable, and it's awesome. I have it installed. I can see the vertical profile, but we don't have it set up yet. It's gonna be great though, because I can see a lot of uses. Say we were trying to actually, when we were working together, try to figure out how to do live streaming on TikTok. Do you remember when we were talking about doing that?
Yeah, it was hard to do. There wasn't an easy way to do vertical unless you wanted to like make it look really stuffed in some way. So
Right.
it sounds like a good program. Definitely
Yeah.
something to use.
Yeah, and
But at
we
least
yeah, we're definitely gonna use it. I don't know where we would stream. We're already streaming on like Facebook and Twitch and LinkedIn. We're streaming to a lot of different places.
yeah.
But maybe I'll build a TikTok one. I've never streamed on TikTok, but I heard we got to get a stream key. So TikTok, hit me up if you have the powers, I guess. But yeah, guys. So check that out. I will be sure to include that in the show notes. It's really really useful actually because the next thing we were going to talk about is Sabin, some stuff. Like, I wanted to catch the audience up and give them an update, right? We hit our first 100 subscribers, and I think now is
Yeah.
an opportunity to kind of talk about, like, what we've learned in that process. Because we started on December 28th was our first upload. So from December 28th to now, yeah, we've grown quite a bit. So I just wanted to talk and just kind of have, like, a casual, like, I was like, damn, me and Saban got to like sit down and really just go over the data. And I'm like, fuck it. Let's just do it live. Not like really the data, but some things that we learned. Sab, do you have any like, no, sorry.
We have
Oh, that's
a
spam.
fun paper.
Yeah. Sorry, I got totally sidetracked. Jeez, I haven't streamed in long. It's been so long that I got distracted by spam. Love that. So, Saban, going back to it, over the past a little over a month now, what are some things that you've been observing from like our flow, our what we've been doing growth wise, content wise? Because it's not what like we normally make gaming content, so it's probably a little different. So, like, how are you feeling about it? Where's your head at?
I'm feeling pretty good about it, honestly. I think over this last like month and a half, 2 months, we've been able to figure out a lot of different things that have worked for us. Just to name a few of them, subtitle placement's big. I've been finding a lot more success placing it a little lower,
Yes.
keep our faces very visible, adding subtitles in general, very, very useful. Something that Danny mentioned that we should try that I think is working at the very least. We might just be growing and it works that way, but I think it works. Is making the full screen of us on the camera. So rather than having it like our podcast is formatted right now for all you lovely viewers to see, it's more so just one face at a time talking, swaps to the other face when they talk. I think it's a really easy format. It's much easier to edit as well. A lot less cropping and
Yeah.
different layers to deal with. Just one layer zoomed straight in.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
those are two of the big ones, I think, for sure. And trying new series. We've been starting to come up with some new ideas. Those have been doing really well, and I think we've been mixing it up in all the right ways, which is why we're starting
Yeah.
to see a lot more growth.
Dude, it's been really cool to see it because we have the podcast and like typical cut downs. Like me and you knew that we've got that down really, really quick. Those alone were doing really well. But then we got to a point, just like I wanted to kind of give the audience a behind the scenes, like how are we thinking about it because they can see what we're doing. What is the reason, Saban? Or well, I'll give my thoughts and then I'd love to hear like your thoughts on it too. When we're I gotta stop looking at Twitter. When we are something that we've been like thinking about, or that I've been thinking about. Not to speak this for Saban, but when we were posting podcast clips, they were kind of like we were posting and hoping, right? So like I like we know how to title, we know how to tag, I know how to write a description, but when you do podcast clips, like let's be honest, me and Saban are not Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans. Yeah, I know.
We got a little to go for sure.
But a double C podcast would be a great idea, and if any of the Chris's would like to have that produced, Odd Man Out could be your production partner. Anywho, so like that's something that like crossed my mind in the first month. I was like, wow, we're getting good results. We are getting our core audience who wants to learn about like editing and learn about content production, but we weren't reaching a bigger audience. So I was like, let me think of ways to tap into more like viral groups, and get into it. So that's where Saban mentioned we got a new series started called Why Is It Trending? And for anybody who hasn't seen it, please go watch it first off. But if you haven't seen it, the premise is we watched like 5 to 10 seconds of a viral video of the day, and me and Saban just tell you why it's going viral. And the reason we did it was to reach new groups.
I think it's been
And
working for
yeah,
sure.
I think it's been working. Like we had one of the videos hit 20 subs. It was our biggest converting video was 20 subs to one video save.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And I had 85 likes, I think, as well, when
Yeah,
normally we're averaging like 30, I'd say is probably an
right.
average.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
we're
really cool to see.
yeah, it was great. It's allowing us to kind of touch different audiences, and just so the audience, like our listeners know or our viewers, what we're testing for is just now finding which niches in these viral videos resonate more with our audience. So like you guys will start to see today. I actually tested posting 3 in a series. Didn't see any differing results, so I'm actually not going to do that again because I don't want to saturate the feed. But I do know now that people like the viral video idea. Every day we can make one of those in the morning in like 10 minutes, and it gets you a couple subscribers every day. Saban, what do you think is working? What are you? Oh, you have a series you told me about.
Oh yeah, we're
What
gonna
are
be
you
starting
working on? You were working on something that you told me a little bit about. Do you want to spoil it or do you want to save it?
um oh man, that's a good question.
Ooh.
I think we could spoil the idea. Give a little teaser to all of
Ooh,
our
Saban
live
with the
listeners.
tea time with Saban. Saban, let's dunk some tea on him.
We're going to be doing another cool series revolving around popular creators, but rather than focusing on their trending videos at the time, we're going to be doing a quick synopsis on who they are, how they blew up, why they blew up, and where they're at now. And the working title still, it's still in the works, but we got a few really cool case studies in the works. I'm excited to try it out and get our second series outside of just the podcast in general out. Because
Mhm.
if the first series did well, I think it's worth trying more and more and just seeing what sticks.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. And for somebody who might be more in tune, like somebody who's like doing this day to day, why, when you came up with this idea, like, can you kind of fill us in on like, why do you think this is a series that will work? Like, that, what is like kind of your thought process behind like, this is why I picked it?
I think it's a mixture of we're going to be talking about popular creators, trending creators who are always going to be in some form, like getting SEO'd. So it's more likely, if we have a video titled like why did Mr. Beast blow up? Anybody looking at Mr. Beast, that's a potential video to pop up on their feed now, potentially convert their fans. And also, I think these are all large creators who get researched quite a bit. So I think on the analytical end as well, there is now a large audience in of itself who are genuinely researching these people as well for their own analytical purposes, who might be looking for why did Ryan Trahan blow up
Right.
rather than just Ryan Trahan, right? So
Dude, I
I think
love
it's got a
that.
lot of potential.
Yeah, I agree. I got all of those reasons. I think like what a lot of like YouTube tutorials like skip or like just never talk about is the thought of like why they're posting it. Like I feel other than like Mr. Beast, he's like, "Oh, here's why I made that video." But like most people don't say like when they're growing and testing like why they're doing it. I think that one's going to pop off. Like I'm super excited to see it. Again, guys, go sub to the YouTube channel. That's kind of how we're charting our success in quotes. Um, but yeah, we got big goals. 25 subs though, that's the last amount, Saban, we need to beat our month to month. Like, yeah. So we only need 20 more
So
subs. You got
in the entire
22 more.
month.
Yeah, you have 22 more days to make it happen.
I think honestly, bold prediction here, chat. We're gonna hit 200 subs before end of February.
Ooh, bold
I'm
prediction. I
bullish.
like it. I
Yep.
like it. Well, yeah, I mean, now you got me and you editing stuff and like throwing stuff out there. So it's very possible.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, super excited, gang. So that is the update of the day. That's vertical content. We talked about odd man out updates. Just wanted to fill you guys in. We won't do an odd man out update every time, but when we hit major milestones, we want to give you guys some like lessons that we've learned. Yeah, keep testing, guys. Keep making content, and always ask yourself how you can break into a bigger and bigger audience if you're trying to grow. If not, dude, it's cool. Size isn't everything. Uh, not gonna make a
Like
comment.
that. Phrasing.
Phrasing. Saban, let's get to the meat of the conversation. We're gonna
Yeah.
get tactical. You hit me up with 3 topics today, and the one that stood out to me was how to find your niche, uh, which is super important, especially nowadays. I feel like finding your niche now is kind of like really difficult, in my opinion, because there's a lot of things you could be interested in.
It's also super important though, because now there are a lot more niches and it's a lot more specified. So the possibility of you blowing up from just posting randomly a bunch of aimless content for the purpose of just posting it is a lot less likely now. Even though experimentation is obviously great and you shouldn't just commit to one thing unless you know for sure it works. But there are ways you can target a niche specifically and try to make that work. And that's what all of us should be trying to do. Like our podcast, we're targeting upcoming creators, people who want to learn about content creation, and that's our niche, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and brands looking to
Brand.
leverage the creator economy. Yeah, yeah. Finding your niche is super important, and it doesn't have to be as complicated, I think, as people make it. But like you said, it is super important because if not, you're just making videos for anybody. And if you try to make videos for anybody or everybody, you'll get nobody. That's shorthand for the saying. Um,
Unfortunately, right? Like if you're making Minecraft videos, right, and that's what you want to
mm,
do, there's a million people making Minecraft videos who spend all of their time making their Minecraft videos. They're optimizing it, the posting, the making of the video, all of it. So
mhm.
if you're just some random person who's like, I'm gonna post a Minecraft video once or twice out of my like other 50 videos, people aren't gonna really see that storyline there. They're not gonna see a purpose, you know?
Yeah,
It's something to keep an eye on for sure.
yeah. Well, you're
Unless
gonna
that is
always
your purpose, like a reviewer, you know?
hey, if you're just documenting, which is also good practice. But yeah, I mean, okay. So before we get deep, this is just for like newbies. A niche, guys, is basically think about your topic. A niche is like what you do. A niche is your thing, right, Sabe?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of niches. There's troll doll niches. There's iPhone Maxi niches. There's niches for finance. There's niches for gaming. Gaming is a good example, right? Right, Sabe? What are some like gaming niches that you can specifically think of? There's like a billion.
Oh yeah, I
Like
mean, there's
Pokemon card opening niches. There's
right montages like going for clips versus going for funny moments. Trolling is a huge niche as well. There's in gaming, the possibilities are almost endless because there's so many different games to do so many unique things on. It's just about finding one that people care about is the
right.
hard thing.
Right. Okay. So now we're getting into it. Now we're gonna give you guys like the meats and the potatoes because picking a niche sounds easy and it is, but if you there it all boils down to your goals, right? So we've talked about goal setting before. Just to bring everybody up to speed, you want to start with a why are you making content, right? And then setting a goal for your why. So why do you want 10,000 subscribers? The why has to be deeper than a number. I want 10,000 subscribers because I want to sell T-shirts. Great, there's your why. That's awesome. Um, Once you have a why and your goals, then you can pick a niche and your niche has to align with your goal. So if your goal, Saban, is for 10 million subscribers, because I know you shoot for the stars, right?
Yeah.
We want that 10 milli. Uh, you have to be super, super specific about your niche because if your niche doesn't even have 10 million people, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're dead in the water, and because you're setting a goal that doesn't align with your niche, right? Or you're picking a niche that doesn't align with your goals. So Saban,
100%. Be
when you're pick,
realistic.
yeah, yeah. So Saban, what are some because we make content, so like I don't want to sit and just lecture people. Let's just talk about our stuff, like stuff that we do. We got Take Flight, which you
Yeah.
do. So you have niches for that. What when you were looking at Flight, which is a gaming organization, what niches did you think about? Like, how did you think about what niche Take Flight, a gaming org, kind of fits into?
So I want to take fully to our niche that's a little different than other esports teams that are kind of like high tier three, low tier two. Is we make a lot of the funny meme content. You know, we don't take ourselves too seriously. Is what I'm getting at. Our niche is that we're here to have fun. We're here to improve. I'm there to help these players reach their goals, and ultimately, it's gaming, right? And gamers aren't super serious. Gamers like funny stuff. And our other niches, you know, I was like, yeah, we could just do first person shooter games for sure. But I also wanted to get into the fighting game niche. You know, fighting games have a very tight knit community. It's a very loving one, but it's smaller. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to try to go in that niche and it worked out quite a bit. We've gained quite a few Smash Bros. And Tekken followers, which is great. But yeah, finding the niche is just our niche is making gaming content that's generally funny. I commentate all of our matches, so even if it's just a Counter Strike match, you'll have me saying some dumb shit in the background that everybody's like, "Oh, that's why I came here to watch your short." To have the
Right.
commentator say something dumb to the craziest play
Yeah.
possible.
Right, right, right. So I love using you as the case sample because you've been working on this for like for a little while now. So like you actually have developed a lot of it and so you actually have a lot of the answers that people could find useful. So when you were kind of like thinking about all right, we want to be kind of in tech in and your personality is like this funny kind of sarcastic meme style. Um you probably picked like the Smash community. This is just me speaking, like because it was more memey. Like you fit better into Super Smash's community because you could do kind of like that ad hoc, like crappy Photoshop style meme stuff that you're really good at, and you would succeed like kind of in that niche. Is that kind of the right way?
100%. It's a weird like Counter Strike is another game that I really like, and Counter Strike is a game that like a lot of people take it hyper seriously, but not us. No, we're just joking around, playing a game that all of us really enjoy, and trying to get everybody to take it a little less serious, while at the
Mm,
same time realizing that these are just people playing their heart out, trying to get a W. Right? It's all
right.
about having a good time, spreading the community.
Yeah, so that makes me want to ask because now we're kind of digging. I want to dig into it because the niche is like, it makes sense. You're funny, you're super clever, you want to have a good time. What are some of like, what what is your goal, right? Like I know you don't put sub numbers on anything because like you're on Twitter and Twitch, like you're doing a whole bunch of stuff, but you have an organization, which means like you probably have a different goal than other people. Like what is like one of your overarching goals with Take Flight just in general?
So the main goal right now is, as I mentioned, we run a Counter Strike team. Our Counter Strike team's in a pretty popular league called ESEA. The goal is to get them all into ECL, as it's called, and
Hmm.
then from there be in a good enough spot competitively that I can approach sponsors with more results. I've got a pitch deck I'm making. So I guess the overall TLDR is get
You want
sponsors
sponsors,
so that I can help support my players more.
right?
Because I'm just no one man can have all that power. I only have so much money to my name
I know.
to help all these players,
I know
right?
you got to keep your bands protected. No, I mean it makes sense, right? So you like Saban, he's not trying to, you're not trying to get, you don't care about how many followers you have. You're just trying to build an authentic brand so that when a sponsor comes, you're gonna get like you're gonna be partnering with somebody who understands your organization's brand because they've seen your voice or heard your voice. How can you see a voice? You've heard your voice. You've seen like what you're making, and that sponsor is going to know what to expect, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not going to make weird content for a sponsor, I'm assuming. You'll probably just be like, "Hey, this is how I do things. So like this is what I think will work." Like I feel like you have a pretty good head on your shoulders for that type of stuff. Um
Yeah.
so you're trying to find a good product fit for your org.
Yeah, and we have a mouse company that we do some work with. Another goal is that whenever we do get a little sponsorship money, I'd like to put some of that towards getting custom Take Flight mouse pads. Getting some pink and white mouse pads with our logo on it, I think would be sick. I think they would sell well because that's a really unique color scheme that gamers are kind of down with.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I guess the overall is our niche is that we're a little different than all the other esports
Mhm.
teams. Most esports teams they hire like professional casters and they have all of this. On the Take Flight streams, you have me who has a channel point option to Gritty. So like we're not really all doing the same type of thing. And my thought process is that I think it's more likely that if I gain a legitimate fan base through just being what I know I can do authentically, then that would be the most likely way to get a sponsor. Because I don't
Yeah.
want to put on some fake brand that I know I'm not going to want to keep up with or can keep up with just the sake to get some money.
Right, right. No, which is it's like the sustained way of doing it. No, that's just like just a really good example of like it's hard to understand how to pick a niche if you don't always see the result. So like sometimes it's easier to point out like, hey, this is the niche that this thing falls into and the results that they get from it. I was doing research today on how to start a faceless YouTube channel that can generate $3,000 a month. That's what I was trying to
Oh,
prompt Chat GPT to make for me today. And I learned a lot, but something that I was like reading through was picking like your niche based on your goal, right? So if your goal was to say my goal was to make $3,000 a month, which would be awesome, by the way, if we could make 3 grand a month off of the show. Um, in order to make $3,000 a month to logically make this happen, right? So like this is where you guys got to get down to brass tacks and you got to say, all right, cool. If your monetary goal is $3,000 per month, uh, you have to understand that your niche has to align with that. So if I wanted $3,000 a month, I would not pick Saban's niche. And it's not to say Saban's niche is bad, but Saban's niche is full of what 18 or no, I'm sorry, probably 15 to like 22-year-old degenerates, no offense, but gamer degenerates who have no money. Like they spend their money getting to the event, but they generally are just like kind of getting their feet wet in the job world and don't have money for what I'm selling, right? For $3,000 a month worth of selling stuff. Maybe a couple
100%.
hundred, right? So
Esports is not the career to get into if you're trying
no.
to make money. Let me
uh,
hardcore vouch for that as somebody who worked in it. And Danny, I'm sure can agree,
oh
not the industry
no.
to be making bands. Industry to
Right.
have a great time,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. So not to completely shit on gaming, but
Yeah, love the industry. I do it for fun, but
right,
I'm not
but for the
making any money.
case exactly, for the case of this example, uh, I want to make $3,000 a month, so I'm not picking the gamer niche. What I would instead pick is something like personal finance, right? Beauty, fashion, because these are niches that have a bigger, not a bigger audience, but an audience that spends more money, right? Like
Yeah.
people who buy makeup. Makeup channels make so much money saving. We need to start a makeup line for Odd Man Out that's just like purple eyeshadow, like smoky crap, like all over. It'd be sick. But the reason why you make so much money is because people watch the videos and then immediately buy stuff. So advertisers pay you more to put their ads in those videos. So that's another example of like the niche has to align with your goal, and if your goal is like that of like money or finances, like something that's not like just follower based, you have to really think about it beforehand. Because if you want to make $3,000 a month and you picked gaming, you can do it. But like, good luck, dude. It's gonna take a lot. Like, I firmly believe anybody can make it in any niche that they want to, Sabe. But having tried so many times, would not like, I don't think that's like the fastest way to do it or the most efficient. I think you burn out in gaming. I think.
Yeah, unless honestly, unless you are good enough to be a semi-professional or professional gamer, it is so
Hmm.
unlikely unless there's some other way you're also getting that popularity. Like a lot of
Right.
gaming streamers, they do some IRL stuff with other streamers, and a lot of the times that becomes most of their most popular stuff. Like streamers like XQC has moved on to tons of more IRL stuff
Hmm.
because he plateaued in his gaming. Huge, huge peak though for gaming, especially, but, like, you could only get so far.
Oh yeah, yeah, and he branches out, so he's tapping into new niches. You have the gambling niche. Well, had the gambling niche when he was gambling. Had the
It's
gaming niche, like you said. Doing the IRL stuff is like another niche. When you guys are thinking about niches, it's like again, make sure it aligns with your goal, and what you're trying to attain in this journey, and make sure that your niche can actually support that vision. Because if it can't, that's when burnout happens, because you're making content and trying to hit a goal that you have so clear in your mind, but there's just not an audience, and that's okay. There's other ways to work around not having that. Um, tips on like, I don't know, Save. Where do we go? Do you have what questions do you have like about finding your niche that would like that would help somebody listening to this if they were like just starting, or even if it's a brand, right? Like I work with like brands every day, not every day now, but like I am going to be working with brands on their socials and content strategy. So like they're going to have to pick niches too. Um
Yeah.
what kind of questions do you think like would come up around like finding a niche or niches in general? Or we can expand out.
I'm thinking something that a lot of people probably worry about is finding that niche and then being stuck with it. And
Mhm.
I think something that's important is you can widen your niches a little more for experimental purposes. So like
Mhm.
I think if you're like, I want to do gaming content, you shouldn't just stick all of your videos in one egg. You should do multiple different, at least for starting, with everything you do. Don't hold yourself down anywhere. Even if you're like, I'm a hardcore Destiny 2 fan, but like but your overall goal is I want to grow as a creator. Then you should be experimenting, seeing what actually works. Obviously, do things that you want to do. You shouldn't be making content just for the sake of like, I hate this game, but I know it'll get me more viewers. But definitely don't be like, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm definitely going to grow by
Mhm.
doing it my way. Because that's like never happened unless your way is some crazy unique thing that nobody's ever seen.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
be fluid. You gotta be open to change, open to experimenting with different content, different people, different styles of videos. It's a grind, but it's something that you gotta do as a content creator, especially early on.
Oh, for sure. And that's something that like I talk to people when I'm talking to people and they're just starting their channels out. Um, you know, you touched on the like, oh, you're gonna do it your way, good luck. Like, I have had to have those conversations with creators, right? Like, where you're like, hey, uh these are the goals you told me you wanted to hit. This is the niche you wanted to do it in, and this is the way you want to do it. Now, I'm cool with you wanting to do it that way, but I can tell you from like years of experience doing this that most people are not the 1%. Everybody's like, there's a saying like everybody's the protagonist of their own story. Like that is true. Like no villain ever views themselves as the villain. So like when you're making a channel, uh yeah, you do want to have an optimism about yourself and like you want to have hopes. That's I'm not saying don't have hopes, but like be realistic with yourself and be like, are you really a freaking unicorn? Probably not. Which is cool because like there's a lot of freaking money to be made. There's a lot of fans to be made. There's a lot of success to be had in the middle. Like just in the top 50%. There's so much of the pie to go around because this industry is growing, because content creation is growing so rapidly that you don't have to be the 1% anyway, which is like
Right.
that's the way that like I go about it. But I do, like I've had creators who are like, no, I'm gonna make it. I'm like, cool, I really hope you do, but I can't take you on. Like as a client, like I can't, if I'm mentoring somebody, you have to like, there has to be like I don't know, unless I see somebody who's like totally off the charts, but at that point I don't think they'd be signing with me. They'd probably
Right.
be like in a garage somewhere, like just making shit. They're probably not on LinkedIn. So
The Steve Jobs type shit.
it's all, yeah, like dude, like builders gonna build, right? Like so that is a really good point, Sabe. I do like that. Being realistic with it too is a huge thing. Uh, I want to talk about niches. It's within the same topic. Uh, like research, dude, like niche research. This is like real, this is nerdy. I wanted to get a little bit
Okay.
nerdy. Like when you're picking a niche, because gaming's really broad, right? And there's like so many niches, but like where do you go? I'm gonna ask you first. Do you have any like go-to places for like when you're trying to like you picked a topic or like a genre, so gaming. Or do you have like places you go to find niches, or do you just kind of like stumble on them? How do you find specific niches? Twitter?
Normally Twitch is a good place. Twitter is another good place to find niches. I think overall, just going to every platform and looking at a mixture of what's trending in general and what's trending in your attempted niche,
Mm.
and especially for early on, like I think if you want to be a gamer, maybe narrow it down to like I want to be a first-person shooter gamer, but I'm not going to just play Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege. Like I'm going to do all the first-person shooters, see how that goes out. And I think that's the right way to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I like that. Twitch, Twitter. I like Twitter to find it, and then Twitch to kind of like live in the niche, right? See if you even like it, because some, sorry, Overwatch people, but like your niche sucks, dude. Like I don't like the audience. It's personally not for me. Uh, but yeah, so like live in the niche, and talk to the people who are living in it. One spot that's like severely underrated that I've actually been using. Sorry, I thought my dog like pulled a wire. You good there? No. Okay. My dog did not pull a wire. So, another underrated tool is Reddit. Going to like
Yeah.
typing in either into Google like uh World of Warcraft Reddit, and then like going to that community, because if you have big goals, like we have big goals for well, I have big goals for like number wise and view wise. Um so I made sure when we were doing our niche research, Sabe, that there was a community, and like the subreddits under like content creators, creator economy, YouTubers, new YouTubers, like it was millions of people, right? So that showed me during the niche research phase when I typed in like content creator Reddit that there were eyes, like people were talking about this topic that me and you had experience in. So we were able to kind of find our niche super easy, uh, because it really did align. Like we want to help people, and there's a lot of people to help. So it really aligns for us. But I recommend Reddit, dude. Like, and if you don't have a YouTube channel yet, or you don't like have anything, Twitter and Reddit, dude. Because if you start going on Reddit and answering questions, like you know the answers, but maybe you just don't have a camera or an idea, and you start answering stuff on Reddit, you can go viral with just answering shit.
Yeah. I have a friend who posts all of his like self rant articles to Reddit, and he's got like 3,000 followers on Reddit at the moment. all he does is just post like random rants about esports games.
Right.
So Reddit's huge, and also a lot of content creators they have their own subreddits. Like one that comes to mind is a Pyrocynical, who's a content creator, does a lot of commentary videos, some gaming,
Mhm.
just a lot of analysis stuff. And his subreddit, I think, is pretty interesting a lot of the times. There's a lot of different content in there, stuff that talks about him, but stuff that also kind of just talks about other creators in that niche.
Right.
And I think even watching copycats, unpopular opinion, a copycat, you can learn a lot from somebody who's so blatantly trying to be a different person. Because then you can learn, like, how do I not be that person, but get to the same place as them,
Right.
you know?
Right. No, that's exactly it. Like if you're running a gaming org, like a gaming and fashion org, it only makes sense, or apparel org, sorry, that you would like watch like 100 Thieves, right? Like you would just watch what they're doing and not copy them, like you said, but take like inspiration and be like, all right, cool, that's what they're doing. That's what their fans like. The fans that they have are fans that I would like to have. So now you're gonna start making stuff that they like. And you don't have to go into guessing. Like so many people, it's funny to me now because I've been doing it for so long, but it is really funny how people like, oh, I don't know where to start. Like I don't know what to say. I'm like, dude, literally the internet like tells you there's a filter on every website that says like like highest rated, highest viewed, like change your filters, play with filters on Instagram, go to like the most liked thing and boom, there's your topic. Like type your niche, filter it by top results, boom. You have what people want and you don't have to guess at all if you have nowhere to start.
There are tutorials for like every creative thing
Mhm.
ever at the moment. So, if there's something that you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, look up a YouTube tutorial. Like, honestly, I self taught myself every program to at least my initial usage of being able to do it just from watching random YouTube tutorials and being like, okay, I wonder how this person did this glow effect. You just look
Mhm.
up how to achieve a glow effect in Adobe Premiere, right? And then boom, I started my montage career more and more. Like it's insane how much you can just learn and cheese knowledge from just looking up stuff on YouTube and seeing like some dude trying to narrow it down in 5 minutes. Everybody's optimizing them now too. You don't even have to watch like a whole 30-minute tutorial now. These people are like,
Yep.
here's how to get your goal in 3 minutes.
Yep.
That that is how you get a viewer. That's how you get a subscriber, by the way. As somebody who watches a lot of tutorials, please stop making 30-minute tutorials. I
Just
will
make them
not watch
short,
it.
man. I will go to TikTok and I will like piecemeal 3 TikToks together before I
Oh,
watch a 30-minute tutorial anymore. Uh
TikTok tutorials are so underrated, dude. It's
They
such a great
are.
place to
Dude,
get
it's
knowledge.
flash learning, bro. It's scary, like, especially pre 3 minute TikTok. Well, now it's 10-minute TikToks, but pre 3 minute TikToks, dude, like, I was learning how to, like, code auto trading crypto bots in, like, 3 seconds. I'm just kidding. I didn't learn how to actually do that. I wouldn't be doing this if I did. I'd have a very different channel. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You can learn how to do anything on the internet now, and literally anything. How do I find a niche? Google it, dude. If you don't know how to do something, literally freaking Google it. But if not, then you can keep tuning into our show, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about anything you need to know because we're pretty smart. We're pretty smart
Yeah,
guys.
or at least
Um,
semi-qualified. So I think that's good.
Semi qualified. Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
15 years of experience is qualified. I think
Yeah.
that's that. I think we're good. We're good on the qualification. But just to like relate it back, not even to like shamelessly plug our stuff, but me and Saban watch a lot of content. Like, there's people who do what we do and like teach people how to grow on YouTube and like how to start a channel. Like, there's plenty of people who are really good at it. Like Harris Heller. Like I'm never gonna beat Harris Heller. That dude's like real good, and has been at it for years. But me and Saban just look at what all these people are doing and we're like, oh, what are we good at? And that's the stuff that we're making now. Like, that's just this stuff. Um and hopefully it just helps a couple people out. But it keeps us going because even if your numbers aren't crazy, then you're like, all right, cool. I still got that, like Saban said. Oh, that one Saban subscribing to somebody is probably way more valuable than like 3 random people subscribing to the same channel if they're not interested in the niche. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just like a high value follower versus just like a regular arbitrary follow. Um, yeah, dude, niches are really, there's so much to talk about. What else you got, Saban? What else you got for me on niches? I think like how to find a niche we just kind of covered. You know, Twitter,
Yeah.
Reddit, Twitch. That's how to find it. Picking it, aligning it to your goals. What else about niches you
Something
got?
something big with niches I think is evolving your niche, once you've got it. Once you get to the point where you've
Mm,
locked down what is successful, you should just keep doing that generally. That's
yeah,
normally the best way to keep your growth is by doing what everybody subscribed to watch. But I think everybody gets bored, everybody wants to evolve and change their content gradually, and I think that's the exact way you should do it is gradually. Don't make any drastic changes. If you're like, my goal now that I've gotten a million subscribers doing
mm,
Minecraft Let's Play videos is I actually want to do Mr. Beast challenges and give away a bunch of money. Pivot. I'm going to
right.
do a Minecraft video today. My next video, I'm going to do a Minecraft challenge. Then I'm going to do Minecraft giveaways. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start doing IRL challenge. Like gradually don't don't toss away your niche is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get at. There's so many people who are like, "Oh, I've got a ton of followers. Like if I change my stuff, they're going to stay." And
yeah,
some
not
people
true.
will. Some people will, but the majority of people will not because the majority of people who subscribe to a channel in general don't even remember half the time because they're subscribed to like thousands of hundreds of people, right? So you don't want to be that one person who randomly pops up in the feed with something that's completely irrelevant that they're like, why was I subscribed to this, right?
Yeah, yeah. Keep giving them the reason to subscribe. To end this episode, Saban, I want to
Yeah.
talk about who you think has changed or pivoted within their niche the best. Like, who is somebody in the industry who like started doing one thing and has since changed that like you kind of like look up to or think they did well with a transition from X to Y, um, or maybe a really bad transition. Like, what? Just one example.
Uh, One person I can think of who did it right is Kai Cenat. I hope I'm saying his last name right. He originally, and I was just looking, researching earlier today, so that's one reason he's on my head specifically. But originally, he was doing random vlogs and challenge videos with his friends. Then one day, he started doing pranks. Then he started doing these pranks on rappers. He was
Mm-hmm.
like having this rapper drive with me and telling him that his music's trash right to his face while I'm driving him around. And then from there, huge rap fan base started following him. He started getting the opportunity to have people like Lil Uzi Vert come on his stream. Other tons of talented artists play games with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's done an amazing job at like he found a good niche early on, which was like kind of fucking with people and being really loud and outgoing and that guy that everybody's kind of like this is entertaining to watch. And he just kept going with it. He kept pivoting more towards what he was good at, which is ultimately interacting and getting reactions from people. That's what he's so good at. That's one reason I really think he's great at it because he can have the most boring person on his stream
Oh
possible, and he
yeah.
would probably find a way to make it entertaining.
Oh,
Even
without
just
a
the
doubt.
awkwardness, it would probably be entertaining. And
Yeah.
somebody real quick who didn't pivot well, Steve will do it. Okay, he got banned on everything, and because he's gambling, which was not the
Right.
best move. He went from this guy who gave away a ton of stuff to like this kind of degenerate gambler, gets banned off of everything, and then starts not scamming, starts gambling on another website that like nobody's really heard of before, and
Jeez.
he's just like fallen off because he gave up
No.
all of his opportunities with sidemen. He moved away from those groups thinking that gambling is going to be the way for me. But only so many people for so long are going to watch you waste all of your money. Which in his case now he's got like a few thousand people on average, which isn't bad. But I mean, he was getting like
Oh, yeah.
70,000 people on a Twitch stream, right? So
Jeez. Really
it's
fell
rough.
off.
Yeah, no, he's not doing the best. I
Well,
hope
it
he's doing
turns
fine
out
now.
it
But
turns out if you rely on your audience to feed you money to then gamble away, eventually they'll stop giving you money to gamble away. That's pretty crazy.
right?
No, those are really good. Those are really really good pivots. Somebody that uh I always like bring this guy up, but Dr. Disrespect, dude, went from being a game developer, right? Put on a wig and a mustache because he was like, I'm pretty good at video games, but like I know how they're built. I know how to talk about them. So he started streaming, becomes one of the best productions on YouTube Live, like without it, well, Twitch before he got banned, and then pivots from Twitch to YouTube after the banning, which was just masterfully done.
That's
I
a hard
think,
pivot in general to
oh
do
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, just to change platforms, but brings his whole audience to a new platform, and now is even pivoting into building his own video game. Like he has his own gaming studio, and not a lot of people know this. He has his own alcohol brand now. He actually pivoted into doing his own, I believe, bourbon company.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what it is.
yeah, I think it's like Black Steel or something Steel, or I don't know. I gotta look it up. But that guy is the master of just like pivoting and pivoting, or maybe it's expanding. I don't know. But he's pivoted a couple times and has broken into taken his brand identity and has been able to transcend different fields. And I think that's something. There's a lot to be said, right? Like that's the moral of the story, guys. Is that when you're building your stuff and starting your channels, uh, finding your niche, going back to like the main topic, it's like pick something, but also realize that everything you're doing today and the stuff that you do tomorrow and the next year, all of it ultimately is going to change at some point. Like it's going to happen without a doubt. Like what you're doing is either going to stop working or it's not going to work to begin with. You're going to have to change. You're going to have to pivot. Be adaptable, be flexible, and make sure you keep following our podcast for when you get lost, because we will be the light that guides you. Saban, I think that's a great place to wrap.
Yeah.
Where can our audience find you and what you're up to on the internet?
Well, if you go to this funky little tag below my name at Just Saban on Twitter and on Twitch, I changed the at. Everything's matching now, so you can follow me there as
Nice,
well.
hell yeah, matching
Yeah,
branding.
Danny, I know you be social, but where can they
Oh
find you on the
gosh,
socials?
goodness gracious. You can follow me on Twitter at Danny B Social. My girlfriend loves it because I'm not actually social. But it's a play on the words. And make sure you follow Odd Man Out at Odd Man Out Studio. Odd Man Out Studio on all platforms. We got it on everything. We made sure it's the same.
Yeah.
We also have a newsletter that we put out in tandem with these. And we have a new series, Saban. We have a new
Oh,
Spotlight series. It's Spotlight Initiative. It's less of a series, more of an initiative. And I have open submissions. Here's the game. If you or someone you know is a content creator, a founder, a designer, a channel manager, an editor, a producer, a creative in general, and you've accomplished something or nothing at all, that's fine too. We want to spotlight you and what you do and what drives you. So I've come up with a Google form. It is on our Twitter, I believe.
yep.
It's on our Twitter. So go to our Twitter, find the link, fill out the survey about yourself, and submit pictures, and we will actually spotlight you. You'll get your own episode of a newsletter. Like we will publish you on our newsletter. That's pretty rad.
Shout
So
out.
yeah, shout out yourselves. No, it's just something because like so many people are doing stuff, we can't possibly talk to everybody. But my idea was that somebody interesting will fill it out. We'll make the newsletter that will go viral, and that will tell me who our next guest needs to be. Yeah, it's all just for our own gain. Ha 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 ha.
We got a grand scheme out
Yeah,
of it.
we got a grand scheme out of it. But yes, guys, with that, guys, make sure you're following at Odd Man Out Studio. Saban, it's always a pleasure to get to hang out with you and be actually productive. Gang, that's the end of the episode. Saban, I'll give the last words to you before I hit this end button.
Well, everybody, thank you. It's been a good run. Have a great rest of your night. 10-4.
We will have another episode. That sounded like we would.
Oh yeah, there will be an episode 9. Yeah.
Okay, peace. Oh my gosh.